If you would walk the highest way, do not reject the sense domain. With this couplet, Sangsong introduces a new theme. Before this verse, Sangsong has discussed subjects in a way which has kept them at the thinking level. Even though he has warned us against taking words and concepts too seriously, the discussion itself has taken place in intellectual terms. The reader would therefore find it easy to assume that the great work of the Great Way lies in the realm of the thinking and/or meditative mind. With this verse, Sangsong begins to correct that tendency. Many spiritual traditions reject the sense domain, considering it at some level unreal and unworthy. These spiritual traditions usually reject the sense domain because of its unreliability, its constant process and change. As an alternative, they offer the promise of a realm which does not change, in stark contrast to the changing world of the sense domain. The Platonic tradition, Vedanta, some forms of Buddhism, Christianity mark examples of this basic approach. At times, Sangsong may seem to adopt this approach as well. For example, when Sangsong says, "If you attach to anything, you surely then go far astray," at first reading may seem to represent the kind of strategy typical of those traditions committed to ontological stasis. Often these traditions offer methods for detaching ourselves from the realm of change and advise despising this world so that we can cultivate a stronger relationship to the unchanging reality variously defined. However, in this verse, Sangsong explicitly states not to reject the sense domain, thus making it clear that he does not belong with the traditions committed to ontological stasis. Ontological stasis represents a form, a very powerful form, of clinging mind, a deep attachment to one's thoughts as representative of the world. Sangsong has told us to let go now of clinging mind. Clinging mind means the mind that seeks to form any kind of stasis in the world, including the stasis of being or essence or unchangingness in any manner. This primal gesture of letting go names the primal nature of existence, which we perceive perfectly exemplified in the sense domain. The sense domain, therefore, does not manifest as the enemy of realization or an obstacle that we must overcome. Rather, the sense domain constitutes a display of ultimacy, constantly reminding us of the truth which transcends all appearances and conditions, the truth of change itself. I detect a strong presence of Taoism in this verse. The Taoist presence in Sangsong's poem appears everywhere, but in this verse it seems particularly strong. I say this because Buddhism has a very ambiguous relationship to the senses. There exists in Buddhism many sutras which consider the sense domain a hindrance to spiritual development because the sense domain has so many distractions, pulling us away from the goal of nirvana, which in these traditions of Buddhism they define in otherworldly terms. Of course, there has always existed in Buddhism counter-tendencies, such as the Zen and Dzogchen traditions. However, Buddhism, with its history of monkish asceticism, has a predominantly negative view of the sense domain. In contrast, Taoism has viewed the sense domain as a source of wisdom. From this view has appeared the Taoist love of nature, which also became such a strong part of the Zen tradition. Here in Sangsong's poem, we find the intermingling of Taoist and Buddhist elements, an intermingling which will give birth to Zen.